Good morning, everybody. My name is Miss Mency, and today I'm going to be talking to you about equity versus equality. These days, we hear a lot of people using the word equity, and today's current events have really brought this idea to the forefront, especially when it comes to your generation. You, a generation of teens who have unlimited access to the news at any minute of the day, as it relates to the idea of equity, right at your fingertips. And not only that, but an abundant amount of opinions to go along with it through social media comments. One minute you are watching a fun video on TikTok, and the next minute a video comes up where you hear the opinion of the latest case of police shootings happening and an endless amount of talk about equity. But what does equity even really mean? And why are so many people looking for it in the world today? So before we can explore the difference between equity versus equality, I want to first define diversity. Diversity, in its simplest definition, means differences. We all have differences, from our glasses to our weight to how much money we have. That is diversity. And no matter how much people say it's hard to find diversity, it's not true. Diversity exists. It's about taking the time to acknowledge its existence and work to ensure action is taken to embrace these differences and not alienate people because of those differences. Equality is often interchangeable with the words sameness and fairness. The Webster definition of equality is the quality or state of being equal, where equal is defined as having the same measurement in quality, nature, or status. It is based on the misconception that we all have the same needs and the same solutions work for everyone. One thing people often say is that we all want to be treated equally. But a fact of life is that we are not all the same. We are all diverse in our own unique way. Some of us are older and some of us are younger. Some have physical handicaps, differences in gender, and the amount of money our family has. The fact is that we don't want equality in our lives. What we really want. The word equity is defined as something that is equitable, where equitable is defined as dealing fairly and equally with all concerned. Equity is based in access and opportunity with the understanding that we each start with different advantages and disadvantages, and thus have different needs to attain access and opportunities for success. It really boils down to the fact that different people have varying needs of support and assistance. Therefore, systems exist to be able to support people based on their needs and not necessarily giving everybody the same thing. So here's a video better explaining the difference between equity and equality.
Today we are talking about equity and equality. But you might be wondering, wait, aren't these the same thing? They look the same, they sound similar, so aren't they the same? No, in fact, they're really different concepts, even though a lot of us get the two confused. So let's break them down. You probably already know what we mean when we say equality. We're talking about two things that are the same or have a similar value. When we treat two people or two groups of people equally, we make sure that they have or get the same things. For example, if I want to give Betty some apples, then I need to give Ben the same number of apples to treat them with equality. Along the same lines, if I want to give the nursing program a budget increase, then I need to make sure that I give the culinary arts program the same budget increase to treat them with equality. That makes sense. But that's not the same thing as equity. Equity can be defined as giving everyone what they need to be successful. In other words, it's not giving everyone the exact same thing. And here's where the difference between equity and equality really come in, because it's important to remember that if we give everyone the exact same thing, expecting that we'll make people equal, it assumes that everyone started out in the same place. So here's an example. In this instance, we give everyone the exact same box, We treat them with equality so that they can see over the fence. Well, that's great for the person on the left because they were already taller, but it's not so great for the person on the right who still can't see over the fence. From an equity perspective, we wouldn't want everyone to have the same size box because everyone isn't the same height to start out with. With an equity mindset, we would get everyone what they need to raise them up to the same level. Here's another example. With equality in mind, we can treat everyone the same and give them all the same bike, but that doesn't really help the person on the left who can't ride that kind of bike, or the person in the middle that is too small for that bike. So when we think about this situation with equity in mind, equity tells us that we need to give everybody a different kind of bike so they can all enjoy a bike ride. As you might guess, this is where the concept of fairness gets tricky for some folks. We often think that being fair means that everybody gets the same thing, and that's what we were taught when we were growing up. But fairness really only works when we're all the same to start out with. So this is a new idea for many of us to think about. There is this great American saying that people just need to work hard enough and pull themselves up by their own bootstraps. It's this idea that everyone can be successful if you just work hard enough. Well, that's a lot easier to do when some of us were born with longer arms to pull up those bootstraps, or maybe we were given longer bootstraps when we bought our boots. So let's think about moving away from the bootstrap idea and instead think about shoes. There is a quote by Naheed Dasani that goes, "Equality is giving everyone a shoe, but equity is giving everyone a shoe that fits."
From this video, we get the idea that equity is a process, which means continuous and takes time. Equity requires power, resources, and social responsibility to work hand in hand to change the systems and provide opportunities to those that are typically left out because of their uniqueness. Equity is hard, but it is essential for us to make change in the lives of those that have been depicted as less than, from individuals with disabilities like physical, developmental, and mental, to people living in poverty with no access to food. It is important for us to recognize that there is a long-standing history of discrimination which has created the present inequalities, which don't allow individuals the same access to opportunities than those that don't have those differences. We are living in a world of Black Lives Matter, questions about police shootings and police reform, the battle over transgender and non-binary rights when it comes to school sports, and immigration policies, to name a few topics that are related to equity that are currently in the news. And now that we know that we should be striving for equity, we need to have open conversations about how we get there. But we should also be open about the fact that issues like these, ones that involve our beliefs about sameness, equity, and difference, are sensitive and can easily arouse emotions. And because we know that these hot topics can be sensitive and bring about real emotions, we as a school would like to create a safe space to openly discuss these topics. This safe space is called the Student Equity Team. The Student Equity Team is a place where you will come together with a diverse group of students of different grade levels, backgrounds, and racial groups for conversations and socializing. You will also provide input and reflection on different topics that deal with equity, and you'll share your thoughts and ideas for an equitable, respectful, and safe school environment here at The Grove. If you are interested in learning more about equity topics that are happening in our world today and have great conversations with a diverse group of students here in the building in a safe space, please sign up for the Student Equity Team by going to the Student Services website and clicking the link under the announcements. Come join us. Our first interest meeting will be May 5th, which is an asynchronous day. So there's definitely an opportunity for everyone to come. So, if you weren't listening to me throughout this whole presentation, listen now because here are the takeaways. If we take the view that we need all citizens to be actively engaged in society, then we can't be strictly giving out sameness. Rather, we need to be giving out access. If everyone has access, then everyone has a chance to reach his or her potential and contribute to their communities and to our greater society, which is the end goal, right? So next time you think about the shapes and sizes and ages and abilities of those in our school and communities, I invite you to think about if you are treating people the same or you are committed to giving them access. Remember, it is important to give everyone the opportunity to share their story and to find value in their voice, which increases awareness and a sense of empowerment. Everyone has their own stuff, right? Everyone is going through something that challenges their emotional and physical capacity to be great. But there is power in connection. So here's your challenge. Be brave and seek out those opportunities to make authentic conversations with people who are different from you. Find what makes them unique and what brings them joy. Then you do the same. Share your story because you have value as well. Now you have built community, and with community, we have power. We is always stronger than me. And with those takeaways, come share your voice at our next Student Equity Team meeting on May 5th. Hope to see you then. Have a good one.